And today we have
Anji.
So Anji is one of those characters who doesn't really fall into a specific category. He's capable in every area, but he doesn't necessarily excel in any one or two areas. So he can keep up pressure and crank your guard gauge. He can knock you down and mix you up. And he can control the neutral game with giant buttons. But there are other characters in the game who do the same thing, just a little bit better. That being said, there are a few mechanics that are unique to him, first of which being the auto guard. So auto guard is exactly what it sounds like. During certain moves, he will automatically block. So I will go over each of these moves when I get to them. However, do know that standing attacks, like this one, have a high auto guard, and crouching attacks, like this one, will have a low auto guard. High auto guard will automatically guard against highs and mids, and low auto guard will only auto guard against low attacks. It will not guard even against mids. So basically any move that starts with a 5 or a 6 might have high auto guard, and any attack that starts with a 2 or a 3 might have low auto guard. The next thing which makes Anji unique is late canceling. So Anji, if he connects with a special cancelable move, just like every other character, he can cancel. But what makes his cancels unique is that he can wait as long as he wants. So I can hit with this and then wait forever before doing the special move. This really strengthens his pressure game. As long as he hasn't canceled into a special yet, you can always do at least one more frame trap. And if you've ever seen an Anji player, you've undoubtedly seen the butterfly, which is really good for keeping pressure on opponents after knocking them down. You can use it in conjunction with overheads, lows, and throws. Like I said, Anji doesn't really have one or two tools that specialize in one or two areas. Instead, he has several tools that each do something specific. So I will be going over all of his attacks, and he has a lot of them, very briefly. Starting with 5P. This is your fastest attack at 4 frames. It will whiff on most crouching characters, or even some forward running characters like Soul. However, it is a fairly potent anti-air. 2P is similar, but it hits lower, so it will not whiff on crouchers. And it chains into itself. However, it is 5 frames, not 4 frames. 6P is your typical 6P. It is invulnerable above his knees and can be used to anti-air or to anti-poke. Some characters that like to poke with attacks that hit high, like this one. 3P is your overhead. If you want to get combos off of this, you have to either use it with butterfly, or Roman cancel it, or it bounces on counter hit. 5K is a decent poke. You can chain fairly easily for a hit confirm, and it's also 5 frames. In particular, it's really good at punishing bursts on block. 2K hits low, is plus 6 on block. This is a criminally underrated move, and 6K is your first auto guard move, and it has an FRC on it, which makes it very plus. You can actually use this as a reversal to beat mids and high attacks. However, be warned, it is not invulnerable to throws. 3K is also a low with really good range. It also auto guards on frame 1, but it's a low auto guard. It is invulnerable to throws, and wall bounces on counter hit, and it is only -1 on block, which is good because it's also special cancelable. 5S is your 7 frame attack. Now it is minus on block slightly, but that doesn't really matter for reasons I'll get into in a second here. 2S, it's low, has good range, and will lead into more damaging combos than 2K. 6S is a huge attack that covers a lot of space, is really good at preventing opponents from jumping out of your pressure, is special cancelable, and jump cancelable, and has an auto guard on it, but it's not on frame 1 like the other ones were. 3S is a bit of a strange move. It is very slow, but it has a lot of low auto guard, and it is +1 on block. But its main use is actually for its unique cancel, and that is it can cancel during its startup into 5S or 5H. So a really good thing to practice with Anji is to go like this. Watch my inputs. I'm doing 3S and then 5S quickly, and the 3S does not come out. This means that normally you can't chain 5S together, but you can chain 5S into 3S, and then the 3S back into 5S, which looks like this. And that's not the only instance of this being useful. For example, you can do it off of 2S, and you can also do it into 5H. Speaking of 5H, this has massive range, and it actually does hit on both sides of Anji. And in combos, if you juggle the opponent, it will knock them to the ground. If they're still on the ground when they get hit, this actually forces them into a crouching state, which is really good for you. 2H is a very, very slow attack, but it does have a little bit of auto guard on it, and it is +5 on block. In particular, this is your highest damage combo starter most of the time. 6H is sort of a weird attack. It has okay-ish range, and after a while, it has high auto guard and is invulnerable to throws, and has an FRC, which happens before it hits, which means you can use it for some throw shenanigans, but it is very punishable when blocked, so make sure you either FRC it or cancel it into a safe special move. 5D is your typical overhead, but Anji's is very slow and telegraphed. He pulls out an umbrella for some reason, and it has quite horrible range. However, it does have a little tiny bit of an auto guard on it, and it is cancelable into special moves. So technically you could use it in block strings, but I wouldn't. 2D is a very, 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 very good attack. It is a 7-frame low, it is special cancelable, and the low profile on it is quite good. Although do keep in mind, it is punishable on block if you don't cancel it, and if it whiffs, it is a very long recovery. As far as jumping attacks, Jump P hits pretty well below Anji, but Jump K is actually faster, although it hits very horizontally. Jump S is your general jumping attack that hits at a similar range to Jump P. Jump H is usually used after combos and sometimes on mix-ups, and if it hits out of the air, it knocks them down. Jump D is sort of interesting. If you notice, Anji's forward air dash travels very, very far, and his forward super jump also travels very, very far. But Jump D will stall Anji's momentum in the air and push him backwards. So you can use this to get some pretty insane mix-ups. It's also pretty invincible at his torso level, so it's actually a pretty dominant anti-air when Anji is below his opponent in the air. His first special move is Shitsu, which is Butterfly. You normally only really see this when the opponent's knocked down, but you can also use it in neutral to control space. The way it works is the Butterfly will travel a set distance, and if the projectile hits the opponent or hits another projectile, it goes up into the air and then falls back down for a second hit. If he uses the Force Break version, that second hit becomes an overhead, and Anji can use that to set up some really, 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 really dumb unblockables, where he hits you with a low while the Butterfly hits you overhead. Sort of Anji's key move, or his most important special move, is Fujin, the slash version goes kind of far, and the heavy slash version goes quite far, but is a little bit slower. In particular, the H version is invulnerable to strikes. There are follow-ups to Fujin. If you just do Fujin by itself and don't do anything, that's very punishable on block. If you press punch, he throws needles. These are pretty safe if the opponent blocks them. You can press K to hop forward. You can do Nagia. This will hit low and knock the opponent down if it hits. However, it is very punishable on block. H gives you Rin, which is a very slow overhead that is unthrowable and has high auto guard, and is even on block. Or he can do the Force Break Rin, which is a little bit faster and is plus on block. When playing against Anji, it is pretty important that you understand how to punish Fujins. Most of the time, it's still a guess, but the safest thing that you can do is just block and wait. If Anji does punch, you can jump up and meet him in the air and punish him. If he does kick, you can react to it and throw him. If he does Naya, you can just block it and punish it. If he does Rin, you can react and block and be +0. Or if he does Force Break Rin, you can block and he's still in on you, so that's probably not very good. But if you wanted to make a hard read, like you know exactly what follow-up he's going to do, in particular to punish Rin, you can do a quick low attack, because again, both versions of Rin have high auto guard, not low auto guard. Anji's next special move is a little bit unique. After a successful auto guard, you can press punch to get Cole, or you can press kick to get Soul. Both of them do a little bit of damage, but in particular, watch my tension meter here. It's a lot of tension. And Soul is plus to where he can link a combo afterwards. Pressing D during auto guard gives you a super version of Cole. In particular, you can come down with air actions, which means that even if the opponent somehow blocks this, you're still pretty much safe. Next special move is Own. Own is, put simply, a combo ender that you'll see at the end of most Anji combos. Now, this cannot hit grounded opponents. This is an air grab, and it has an FRC. The thing about this FRC is there's no reason not to do it, because if it hits, you cannot FRC it. No matter what you do. If in the middle of a combo you're going into Own and the opponent bursts, you can FRC the Own and block to punish their burst. The Force Break version is significantly slower and really doesn't combo from anything except for 5D. But it is used for its extended range, so this can actually be used to catch like Bridgets and stuff that are trying to like stall out the game by staying in the air for a really, really long time. But other than that, it's pretty useless. Next is Kai. So the punch version of Kai goes a short distance, and it's plus on block. The kick version goes a little bit further, but is a little bit slower. It is also plus on block. It also has an FRC, and this hits overhead. The punch version is pretty good for getting in because it's still plus on block. But the kick version is really slow. It's easy to anti-air. They can slash back it, which is why FRC into throw is actually quite potent. And if it hits, they're popped up for a juggle. Next special move is an Ishiki. This hits overhead and is very fast. However, there is no combo after this, and it's very unsafe on block. Unless you have 50% tension, in which case you can Roman cancel it. And make it safe on block and a combo on hit. In order to do this instantly off the ground, do the motion and then hold up back. Anji has 3 super moves, the first of which is Sight. Most of the time you see this at the end of a combo for a little bit of extra damage. In particular, supers are unburstable, so if you want to keep the combo unburstable, you can end it with a super. Next super is charge down and up plus kick. So it's like a flash kick. This is basically Kai, but a super version. This version is actually punishable on block, so if you do it at a close range, they might not be able to block the cross-up. And finally, he has Kacho Fugetsu, which is during auto guard, has to go back S. This move is essentially guaranteed, more so than Ko or So, but not usually worth the do. You really only see this when doing it will end the round. Finally, he has insta-kill, but this move is really slow and not usable ever, except against really bad opponents. Of note is his forward plus taunt. You can use this to fake his 3P. So 3P looks like this, and forward plus taunt looks like that. Cancel the taunt into a low. So you can do things like this. Fake the overhead and go low. And yes, you do see top level Anji players do this, and yes, it does work more often than you would think. So those are all of Anji's moves, and that's all I wanted to cover in this first video, but just because Anji has so many moves, and they're all useful in some way or another. Anyway, thanks for watching.